What do you think is going to happen in that case?
So bad. I hope Justin Gaethje not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself, be focused. He's gonna overstrike him on the fight to wrestle him, and he's gonna, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you.
This fight really matters to me. I need this win. The upcoming clash between Justin Gaethje at UFC 34 has set the mixed martial arts community on fire, with fighters, experts, and fans all weighing in on what's shaping up to be one of this year's most captivating showdown. When it comes down to it, it's me versus Justin, and I've got to get past him. Justin brings a serious challenge to the table.
Really easy.
Yeah, easy.
That's a crazy thing to say because
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows
but he's
that.
a Division I wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to.
Did you ever saw him submitting someone?
I don't believe he's ever submitted someone, but I think that's because he likes to just crush people.
Everyone likes is to dominate people and to win as soon as possible. If you have the ability to submit someone as soon as...
I think Justin Gaethje's mindset is to be reasons why he lost some fight because he took unnecessary.
This whole matchup, which honestly feels a bit strange to me, is only happening because the current champion Ilia Topuria pulled out to handle some personal matters. Back in late November, Topuria posted on social media that he wouldn't be fighting in the first 3 months of the year because he's dealing with the emotional weight of his divorce and wants to focus on his children during this tough period. When he stepped away, it created a gap at the top of the lightweight rankings. The UFC's solution was to set up an interim title fight, pitting a seasoned veteran against a rising czar whose rapid climb has caught everyone off guard.
Bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in my.
Tony Ferguson, who shared the octagon with both these fighters during his impressive career, offered some really interesting psychological perspective on this matchup. Rather than just breaking down technical abilities or physical advantages, Ferguson focused on something you can't quite measure, but might be absolutely critical. He pointed out that Gaethje carries the weight of previous letdowns, having come up short in 2 prior championship fights. Those losses stick with you in ways that aren't easy to shake off, and walking into another title fight, even an interim one, might bring back echoes of earlier heartbreak. The psychological impact of getting so close to greatness only to fall short can be crushing, and Ferguson wondered if that baggage might create a subtle but meaningful disadvantage. On the flip side, Pimblett approaches this moment with the fresh excitement of someone experiencing it all for the first time.
But Justin Gaethje fighting for the interim title, whoever wins that fight will move on to fight Ilia, and I don't think that there will be a title defense for the interim. If I was to bet, there will be no title defense of the interim title. I think that the next Paddy and Justin, I think their next fight will be Ilia Topuria, so do not think they will defend the interim.
Thomas broke down the fight from a more tactical angle, examining how fighting styles mesh and where opportunities might emerge. From his perspective, Pimbeltt has stumbled into what could be his best possible path to championship gold. The lightweight division remains brutally competitive, packed with dangerous fighters who create nightmare stylistic matchups. Thomas specifically mentioned rising threats like Arman Tsarukyan, contenders whose skills and physical gifts would likely overwhelm Pimbeltt in a straight-up fight. Against those elite-level opponents, Pimbeltt would have trouble implementing his game plan and might find himself outmatched at every turn. Gaethje, while still a formidable opponent, represents a different kind of challenge. He's further along in his career journey, more predictable in his approach, and no longer shows the explosive unpredictability that defines today's emerging contenders.
And Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants.
Alexander Volkanovski, using his experience as a former champion who's watched countless title challengers rise and fall under pressure, brought another layer to the conversation. He admitted that Gaethje has rediscovered parts of his old aggressive self and still carries knockout power in his hands. He explained that it's a tough question, but he just can't pick against Paddy anymore. This guy keeps finding ways to win. In his most recent performance against Michael Chandler, he looked sharp, and even though Gaethje is becoming dangerous again, Paddy showed in that fight that he can stick to a game plan. That's going to be crucial in the fight against Justin. Volkanovski feels confident that Paddy will do whatever it takes to accomplish his goal. Uriah Faber broke down the matchup with the expertise of someone who's spent years understanding how different fighting styles interact. His prediction leaned toward Justin Gaethje, based on reasoning about who stays composed when fights turn into absolute chaos. Both fighters are willing to engage in wild exchanges and neither lacks courage or fighting spirit. However, Faber saw something special about Gaethje's relationship with mayhem.
With Justin.
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man. One of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but
Eddie Alvarez, who handed Gaethje his first UFC defeat and understands his style better than almost anyone, shifted the conversation to completely different territory. For Alvarez, the outcome would depend less on natural talent and more on how intelligently Pimbeltt prepares for the specific challenges coming his way. Gaethje brings an intensity that's impossible to replicate in the gym. Alvarez experienced it firsthand and remembers the relentless punishment, the constant pressure, and that sensation of never getting a moment to recover. If Pimbeltt sticks with his usual training partners who can't recreate that level of chaos and aggression, he'd be doing himself a disservice. His first taste of Gaethje's real pressure would come inside the cage on fight night, and by then it would be too late to adapt. Alvarez didn't question Pimblett's heart or determination, but he understood that adapting to an unfamiliar style in real time against someone as dangerous as Justin Gaethje is a recipe for disaster.
He's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket and he's going to hit. If you don't meet him, the way to beat a guy who like does that, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave and you got to go. You have to shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not sending and throw when he throws in between his shots, really long night. It's gonna be a hard night for you.
Charles Oliveira shared insights from direct experience, having faced Gaethje in a truly memorable lightweight title fight not too long ago. He understood better than most just how unpredictable and dangerous Gaethje becomes during striking exchanges. Having faced him directly before eventually securing a submission victory, Oliveira noted that Paddy's stand-up game is solid. He's capable of getting fights to the ground and he's constantly moving. Oliveira believes Paddy will avoid getting into striking battles with his opponent. His best approach is to focus on grappling and wrestling. If he decides to trade punches, he risks getting knocked out cold. But if he commits to taking him down, he could very well capture the title. Still, Oliveira honestly expects Gaethje to come out on top. Matt Brown entered the discussion, voicing broader concerns about what this particular fight represents in the UFC's current landscape. To Brown, Pimblett's rapid rise to an interim title shot seemed less about defeating elite opponents and more like a business decision driven by popularity and fan appeal. He pointed to Arman Tsarukyan as a fighter who had earned his position the right way, defeating quality opponents and proving himself against the division's best. Meanwhile, Tsarukyan sits on the sidelines watching as a fighter with fewer impressive victories gets the title opportunity. Brown's comments carried undertones of frustration about the sport's direction, suggesting that social media presence and hype-building skills now carry as much weight as legitimate athletic achievements.
Like, they're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Arman.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, you know, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. It's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And the question, what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport, you know, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting, there's, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Arman Tsarukyan or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make whatever, this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want. That's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
His own aims have. Gaethje has expressed himself with total honesty, understanding the opportunity and the narrative surrounding it. He recognizes that many fans and observers would prefer to see Pimbeltt face Topuria for the undisputed championship, viewing that as a more compelling storyline given both fighters' rising profiles and contrasting personalities. This potential matchup has been compared to the highly anticipated but never realized fight between Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, a bout that captured imaginations but never came to pass. Gaethje seems almost energized by the idea of disrupting those plans and playing the role of spoiler to the popular narrative. He stated plainly that he intends to win and derail the Pimbeltt hype train, delivering a performance on January 24th that forces everyone to recalibrate their expectations and acknowledge him as the rightful next contender.
I'm not looking to grapple, but I have no issue, with the grappling department, and my ability to keep people from taking me down is second to none. So he's going to have to, punches and kicks, and then, if that happens, then he'll have a better chance. But this is such a crazy game, you just never know. Maybe I'll stop him.
Meanwhile, Pimblett enters the fight with the confidence of someone who always believed he'd reach this level. He stated that fighting for a title feels inevitable regardless of the path, making the opportunity to face a respected veteran like Justin Gaethje for interim gold feel like appropriate recognition for his work. Looking ahead, Pimblett envisions not only beating Gaethje, but then defeating Topuria for the undisputed belt, defending that championship multiple times, and eventually moving up to welterweight to capture gold in a second division. These are bold goals that demonstrate tremendous self-confidence, though critics might view them as premature considering his current resume.
In the cage with him and fight him, but feel bad saying it because I've son of beside him.
Is that where you think he is in his career? You think he
Yeah,
is?
I think he's on the precipice of retiring. He said himself he was going to retire if he didn't get a title shot, so he's not going to get another title.
Regarding the build-up to the fight, Pimblett expects a respectful atmosphere without the manufactured animosity often seen in major UFC events. He's interacted with Gaethje previously, finding him polite and personable during their conversations. He draws parallels to his fight against Michael Chandler, though he understands everything changes once the cage door closes. Pimblett has expressed genuine respect for Gaethje, acknowledging his reputation as a fighter whose bouts consistently deliver entertainment value.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, of course. Always want one.
You never had a war you want started by doing it with Justin Gaethje?
Yeah.
Where'd you head at, man?
That's firmly screwed on my shoulders, lad, but people are laughing at me when I'm saying I'm going to stand with him, but I am. People think that I'm just going to shoot in the first 10 seconds. I'm not. I'm going to stand with him, and I'm going to put it on him, and people are going to be like, wow, we weren't lying. He's more of a boxer with leg kicks, and I'm an MMA striker. I don't do just boxing or Thai boxing or kickboxing or taekwondo or karate. I'm an MMA striker, and you'll see that.
Perspectives from fighters and analysts reveal just how complex and unpredictable this matchup really is. Some view Gaethje's experience and proven ability to thrive in chaotic situations as decisive advantages. Others recognize Pimblett's current momentum and talent for finding unexpected paths to victory as reasons for caution when counting him out. What's certain is that on January 24th in Las Vegas, two fighters with everything to gain and much to lose will step into the octagon to determine who advances as interim champion and who sees their title dreams temporarily derailed.